Oh shit, here we go again.
What is up? You dude? Off! What is up, everybody? Welcome to the video. So this is one that I've been meaning to make for a long time, but days went by, weeks went by, months went by, and here we are a year later. So a year ago today, I was in an accident that changed the course of my life pretty tremendously. Looking back, I had no idea how different things would become. Going into this day, I was super motivated to become the best rider that I could possibly be. I was in arguably the best shape of my life. I thought I was doing all the right things, but at the end of the day, shit happens, life happens, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So let's start from the beginning. Labor Day weekend 2020. I got invited to an enduro race in South Carolina called the Little Brown Jug. This is something that I had been wanting to do for a while, and I figured it was the perfect opportunity to get introduced to the scene. So we got there the night before the race, set up camp. I was feeling really good, a little bit nervous. I slept fine. I am a competitive person, so I knew that I was going to push myself, but ultimately I was there to learn. So it was a lot of information to take in at once. We had the riders meeting. I really didn't hear a whole lot. My goal was just to find someone with a similar riding skill and just kind of follow them through the race. After I got that initial adrenaline dump out of the way, I kind of calmed down and everything was going smooth. We kept going through the test. I was feeling more confident. I had a few little spills along the way, but overall, I was on track to finish like high up in my rank. I was following a B-class rider and doing pretty good. So we were well over 3/4 of the way done, and in my mind, I was like, man, we've made it this far, let's just finish. And I haven't looked at this video in a while. I'm sure a lot of you know what's coming, so I'm actually gonna pull it up right now and react to it. But yeah, long story short, this happened. The noise, dude, the noise. I literally could not contain that noise. And just looking back, man, it just pisses me off. I didn't even crash. It wasn't that big a deal. My leg just pogo sticked off the ground in the perfect way for it to break the top of my tibia. It's just frustrating to see because I've had so many worse crashes, and the most frustrating part about this is the fact that I didn't even crash. My front end was washing out, and naturally I put a foot down to try to stop me from crashing, and it just hit in that perfect way where it snapped a chunk off of my tibia. Ah, yes. I remember feeling that pain vividly. I've been hurt a lot over the years. I've broken stuff. I've had many lacerations, and there's never been a time where I couldn't contain myself. And the pain had to go somewhere, so it came out in that horrendous scream. But I am proud of this next part, man. I finished the race. In my mind, I was like, what the hell? I'm either gonna lay here and wait for maybe an hour for somebody to come with a gator or something to pick me up and then have a terrible ride in the back of that, or I can just try to finish. I really had no idea how far that I had to go, but it was quite a ways, and the pain was far from over. And I mentioned it in this video, but I've had so many comments about this. Yes, I was wearing frickin' knee braces. I had the Liat C-frames on at the time, but this type of impact was straight up and down. It was vertical. So the knee braces really help with the side to side and keeping your leg from hyperextending. There's a lot of controversy with knee braces, whether they actually help. Personally, I do think they help in many circumstances, but in a situation like this, would I have been better off without a brace? Maybe. Maybe if my leg was able to move naturally, it would have absorbed some of that impact. But you can what if all day, is what it is. I'm not telling people to not wear knee braces. Ultimately, do what you want. But this is just a lesson for everybody. It doesn't matter how much gear you wear, there's still the risk of getting hurt. And shit happens, really. That's the moral of the story. But I was just trying to process in my mind what could possibly be wrong.
Something's not right.
Yeah, no shit. Something's not right.
Oh, I can't even move my leg.
I can't move my leg. Oh, man. So with the knee, I immediately went to ACL, like MCL. A torn ligament is what I thought. But in the back of my mind, and to this day, I can remember thinking, man, like, would that really hurt that much? So I knew something was seriously wrong, but I had no idea what at this point.
Broken leg, I don't know.
Broken leg, I did say that.
If I was smart, I would have pulled over, quit.
So if I was smart, I would have pulled over and quit. But the pain was far from over. The worst part is yet to come. There was a lot of loose dirt and some sand, and I was coming into a corner, and I did lay it down.
Oh, I can't shift.
Oh man, that's harder to watch. That's harder to watch for me than the actual crash, because I just remember the struggle. Like it was bad. I just remember trying to move my leg and it just not doing what I was asking it to do. It was already swollen at this point. I had a huge piece of my tibia just floating around in my knee joint, and I was actually trying to stand up on it.
I remember I kept trying to put weight on my leg just to see if I could use it.
Every time I put weight on my leg, it would just give out. I got the bike stood up on my own, but this whole process was like 10 to 15 minutes of me just butchering my time. Like if I wouldn't have done this, I still would have had a pretty good time. But long story short, many riders passed, and one eventually helped me out and helped me get on the bike. I couldn't use this leg to push off of and swing my other leg over the seat, so that was the challenging part. Once I got back on, I took it easy, and man, I finished the race. Hey, at least I finished. I'm sure there was many people in this race that didn't even finish, so finishing my first enduro with a clapped out leg, I'm proud of that.
Some pictures. When I passed them, I was like, see you in the hospital. He kept going.
Yeah, dude, that was funny.
Where's the nearest hospital?
Where's the nearest hospital? I don't really know, man, where the hospital's at. Thanks to my buddy Tyler for hauling me over to the hospital. Thanks to everybody that helped me get up in the truck. This was only the beginning of some long months of surgeries, recovery, and some stuff that you guys don't even know about. So that's what we're here today to fill you in on. So I ended up going to the hospital in South Carolina. It was the Spartanburg Regional Hospital, and this experience was a complete joke. I wasn't allowed any visitors. I'm out of state. I was in there for a few hours. They managed to give me a CT scan, put me in a brace, give me drugs, and tell me that they couldn't do the surgery today, and I would probably have to wait till early the next week. So in my mind, I just want to get home. I don't want to stay in a freaking hotel. We're like 8 hours away from home. So I was diagnosed with a tibial plateau fracture at the time, and I really didn't know anything about it, but I had a large chunk broken off the top of my tibia, and when I heard the word fracture, I was just thinking hairline fracture. But a fracture can mean a break, and it was broken. There was a large chunk of my tibia floating around in my knee. The nurse that I had, she was very nice, but she really didn't know to the extent of what was going on, and they had to straighten it to put it in the brace, and she was just trying to comfort me by saying that, you know, I would way rather have that. I had many ACL tears in high school, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you should be back up and going in no time, no big deal. So I'm like, man, it doesn't feel like it's no big deal. Like, there's something messed up here. I was in a lot of pain. I'm pretty stubborn. I'd only taken ibuprofen so far. They eventually gave me a Percocet, which I took for the ride home. It didn't really do a whole lot for me other than make me tired and a little nauseous. But I got the hell out of there and I was on the way home. But I don't want to keep repeating myself. I've already made videos like this. So to keep a long story short, I had to wait a full week until I could get my surgery once I got back home. I was pretty much immobile for the first month. I mean, I had to go through a week with that bone still floating in my leg. The swelling was ridiculous. My leg looked like a damn tree stump, and there was only one thing on my mind, and it was getting the surgery over with. So I'll never forget the date, September 11th. Rest in peace to all of the people that died that day. Terrible moment in history, and that was the day of my surgery. Crazy enough, my mom was actually having surgery the same day. We were literally on the same floor at the same time. I normally don't get nervous before surgery, but they doped me up. I went under, I had the surgery, I woke up into a world of misery. There was not enough Dilaudid in the world to keep me from feeling what I was feeling. It was a long, restless night, and my next goal was just to get the hell out of the hospital. The only real requirements that I had were to go to the bathroom and do a few laps around the floor. The doctor that came in wanted me to use a walker. I had never used one before, so I was super against it. I eventually convinced him to let me use crutches because that's what I'm comfortable with, and I crutched my way around the floor and he let me leave. So I didn't really have too much guidance from my surgeon. I was basically just told to move it as soon as I could, and my leg was still so swollen that I really wasn't able to do that for the first couple weeks. So throughout the beginning stages, I was just trying to get my pain under control. I think within the first 3 days, I was off all of the hard stuff, but I started doing all of the exercises at home, all different types of stretches to get my range of motion back, and it was a long uphill battle. Eventually, I could start putting a little bit of weight on it. I continued doing the exercises. I was just working through the pain, doing what I could, and time was moving really slow. It was definitely one of the worst periods of my life. My grandfather got sick during this time and eventually passed away. I was having relationship issues. In times like this, you really figure out who cares about you, and it was just a rough patch. It sucked, especially with my job revolving around social media and not always trying to be like a Debbie Downer, but it was too much for some to handle. You know, I'm usually the guy that's all upbeat and cheerful, so it definitely hurt seeing some people's reaction to that version of me. But regardless, I pushed on. I eventually got cleared to do full weight bearing. I was doing physical therapy, and months went by and I really wasn't happy with my progress, and I felt like I was at a standstill. So I eventually stopped going to physical therapy because I wasn't seeing any gains, and I scheduled an appointment to see my surgeon and basically told him, look, something is not right here. I don't know what's going on, but I'm not making the progress that I think I should be making. And sure enough, he scheduled an MRI. So pretty much since the beginning, I always had a feeling that something else was going on. My leg never felt fixed, and I had the plate and screws holding my tibia together, but my leg was constantly giving out. I had severe instability in my knee joint, and sure enough, the MRI results came back and I had a torn ACL. And not just a torn ACL, the part of my ACL that attaches to the bone, that bone was actually broken off. So now here I am 6 months later with a completely torn ACL and the reason for why I haven't made any progress. Now this was really just a slap in the face, just complete negligence on my surgeon's aspect, but here in America at least, you are at the mercy of your healthcare provider. I was also having insurance issues. My insurance provider came back after that first surgery and was trying to deny paying for it. So I had this whole $50,000 plus charge hanging over my head throughout this process. So let's fast forward to the next chapter. I really haven't done many videos on this next part, and that is the ACL recovery. So I was scheduled for the ACL surgery at the end of March. I was going to have the patellar tendon graft done. That is when they use your patellar tendon to reconstruct your ACL. They leave the tendon attached to a piece of your kneecap and a piece of your tibia, and they place it where your ACL is supposed to go, and it is known to be one of the most reliable grafts out there. There's multiple ways to do it, but the patellar tendon was the most reliable, the most effective, and it was going to get me on my feet the fastest. So that's what I chose. I had the surgery. I'll go ahead and play some clips of that. What the heck is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is the same day of my surgery. Same day update, only a few hours post-op. And I just wanted to make this video just showing you how big of a difference this was compared to the first surgery. They literally took all the screws out of my bone. They took plugs from my kneecap, so it's not like I don't have any bone pain, and the full ACL repair using the patellar tendon. So we're doing good. I'm super happy, feeling relaxed, thankful, and glad to finally have this thing fixed and out of the way. So cheers to a speedy recovery. I hope everybody else out there is doing well, but stay strong and you'll get through it. All right, guys, it is day 3. I was supposed to wait 3 days to take the wrapping off. Let's see what we got. Definitely have some leakage here. This might not be YouTube friendly. There's too much blood in there. I don't know about that. Ooh. Not bad. Ooh, not bad.
Yeah, but you're bleeding in 4 places.
So this surgery was a huge change. I loved the surgeon that I had this time. I felt like it was done right. I was confident, and the recovery was so much easier than the tibial plateau. The pain was not even comparable. I also got my hardware removed, so now I don't have any metal in my leg. That was also supposed to help my healing process and getting that range of motion back, which to this day is my biggest struggle. But I felt truly confident in the work that was done, and everything was right in my leg. So here I am another 6 months later. What is my status? This time around has definitely been better, but I feel like I am at a huge disadvantage at this point. I went a full 6 months with that torn ACL, not being able to make any real progress. So my leg wasn't able to grow any of that muscle back because I wasn't able to do any of the squats or a lot of the exercises without a lot of pain and instability. So my leg got used to being like that. I'll show you in a bit my range of motion progress, but I'm still nowhere close to being 100%, and now it is a year from that initial injury. So it's very frustrating to say the least. At the end of the day, it is what it is. I really just want to get back to 100%, or at least close to it. Thankfully, I am starting to ride again, but I don't see myself doing any of the hardcore enduro riding that I love to do anytime soon, just because I'm not ready. I'm just gonna listen to my body at this point and take things slow. It's towards the end of the riding season once again, so I really just plan on taking it easy throughout the fall, throughout the winter, and hoping through all my effort and hard work, by the time that spring comes, 2022, I'll be out the gate ready to do whatever I want to do. So when this initially happened, my goal was to compete in the Little Brown Jug the following year. That's going on this weekend, Labor Day weekend, and obviously I'm not there. Like I said, I just didn't feel that I was ready. It's disappointing, but at the end of the day, it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
I've been through so many different injuries at my life, and this has been the most frustrating one. And the biggest thing that it's taught me is patience. All of my injuries in the past had a clear timeline. I was always ahead of the curve. I always bounced back, but this one has been a huge burden. So like I said, I am able to ride. I'm out doing some dual sporting, some light trail riding. I've even had a couple harder rides doing some enduro type riding, but my leg is just not where it needs to be. The idea of me crashing, re-injuring my leg, and having to do this all over again just isn't an option right now. So my main focus right now is fitness, just getting healthy, and I have a blast doing it. I've been riding bicycles like crazy. That's a huge passion of mine. I finally can walk long distances without getting super sore. And in today's video, I think we're gonna shoot for a mile run. That would be even more special to me than going on a ride, because riding for me is easier than walking. So we're gonna shoot for a mile in today's video. We'll see what happens. I think the closest that I've got is a half mile, but I was pretty sore the next day. So I'm sure I'm gonna regret this, but I'm ready. Let's give it a go. So this right here is pretty much max flex. The goal is to get heel to butt. Very unlikely, but it is possible. All that scar tissue that's built up is just seized in there, and you gotta break all that loose. The timeline is really what's killing me. I'm so far out from where I was at 100%. It just takes a lot of pain and effort. And straightening, on the opposite end of the spectrum, which affects more of your walking, I can get close to 0 degrees. But as you can see, I can actually lift my heel on my other leg. That's because I can hyperextend it. But once again, just takes a lot of work, but we're getting there. I'm gonna stretch out for a bit, and we're gonna do this run. That's the goal. You can see this quad and compare sizes. So this is what the goal is. That's me flexing this quad. Big difference in size. And the quad controls a lot of the stability in the joint. Still have a lot of work to do getting these muscles built back up. Might be time for some juice. Even just a basic quad set brings on a little bit of pain, so let's go run this mile. Going for distance, not time here.
Somebody else, I think, needed a break. How do you feel?
I feel good. Some days are better than others, but I haven't been stretching as much as usual, so a little tight.
And the past 2 days, you've been not feeling 100%, so.
And I'm still recovering from a little stomach virus, so don't have all my cardio back yet. But no excuses, we're still gonna get the mile. We're at 0.6 already. I'm feeling pretty good. Mile in. He's a little worn out. I feel pretty good. First mile in over a year. A little bit sore. My legs bothering me a little bit today, but we made it. Feels good. Good milestone, D's. Year anniversary today. Ran a mile. I would have thought I'd be doing way more than this at this point, but that's life, you know. You gotta take what you can get. I'm thankful to be out here using my limbs. You know, there's a lot of people out there that, whether they get paralyzed, amputated, so be thankful for the little things. I can walk, I can use my body still. It may not be 100%, but it's something, and we're gonna keep working. Mile complete, feeling pretty good. I don't know if I'll be saying the same thing tomorrow, but yeah, start somewhere. So where are we at here, guys? Oh yeah, I still have the wheelchair that I plan on giving away. I bought like a $10,000 wheelchair after the first surgery, which thankfully I kept because after my ACL, I used it as well. Damn, that was hitting. But you don't realize how difficult it is to do your daily routines if you can't walk. Like with a normal wheelchair or crutches, try to carry something. It's difficult, especially with liquids. So the motorized wheelchair was a godsend, and I really hope to find a good home for it. It's a really capable off-road wheelchair, and I would love for it to go to a younger outdoorsman, someone that's maybe permanently disabled. So I promise you I will find a home for the wheelchair. We will do a video on giving it away, and I do plan on being a man of my words, so I have not forgot. I didn't talk too much about the transition with riding because ultimately that is my main passion. After breaking the tibial plateau, I ended up fixing up and selling the KTM. We sold it and got the side-by-side, and after riding that for a bit, I was able to hop on a four-wheeler. So we went from the Can-Am, had a couple Hondas, and then eventually started riding the KDX, and then we bought the 300L to play around on the streets. So slowly we've been transitioning back to normal. Like I said, I'm riding bikes a ton now, bicycles that is. I actually got a new bike, which I'll do a little video on, and I got an e-bike as well, so I'm pretty stoked on that. But moral of the story is, guys, shit happens. Protect your knees, protect everything for that matter. But regardless of what you do in life, there's always a risk of getting hurt. It doesn't matter if you're on the couch playing video games, you could have an aneurysm. So life happens, don't let it stop you from doing the things that you want to do. Just know the risks that are involved and appreciate every day. It sounds corny, but it's true. Other than that, here's where I am as far as my recovery. I know I've gained a lot of followers through the Tibial Plateau community, as well as the ACL group. I'll link those pages down in the description below. They helped me a lot during my recovery, and it was nice being able to share experiences with people who are familiar with the process. So if you are going through something like this, I highly suggest the Facebook groups. There's a lot of valuable knowledge there. Honestly, a lot more knowledge in those groups than I ever received from any doctor. Although I did have an amazing experience with the OSU team. So if you are in Ohio, I highly recommend using the OSU hospital. Fantastic team at the sports department. They fixed me up nice. My surgeon wanted to see how much progress that I could make with some more physical therapy these last couple months. So depending on how things go, I might have another surgery to go in there and lance out some of the scar tissue and do a manipulation under anesthesia. Basically, they knock you out and force your leg to bend. I'll maybe do another update in the future, but for now, I just wanted to fill in everybody and kind of celebrate this year anniversary. We've come a long way. Still have a long way to go, but I'm thankful and we'll see what happens. That being said, my plans for the channel, more riding content, a lot in the dual sport world, a lot of mod videos, some builds. Mainly my priority right now is getting the van ready, the trailer set up to travel. Winter is coming and I don't want to be stuck here. So that's the plan. Do some traveling down south, enjoy the warmer weather. I tend to go insane if I spend too much time in the cold weather. But if you enjoy these story videos, drop a like, comment down below, ask me any questions, I'll try to answer. If you are new, consider subscribing. We upload 3 videos a week. So until the next one, thank you for watching, and we'll see you then.
God damn it, Diesel. You might need a break.